We've justified our sin, and we're gonna take you on a ride till we find answers within. Location not here.
And we are. We are, Jack. You know what we are? We are. Oh,
The
not
champions?
that. No, we are. We are VR. We are
Hell
VR.
yeah.
The VR troopers. Ah,
We're gonna be VTubers.
they're gonna be the original VTubers, but instead of playing games in front of the computer, we're gonna be fighting literal cyber demons, like real, like real virtual reality. Oh man, I think the sickness is getting to my jokes. They're worse than they usually are. Well, welcome, folks. This is the episode 79, the sick edition of the JAC Show.
Sick edition.
Yes, I'm sick, and Jack just told me he's sick, and I attribute it to the change of weather. Although we do hope it is not because of the coof. But nevertheless, we will prevail. And I am the generally erotic and beautiful hack, and someone's keeps messaging my phone. I'll be right back. Jack, introduce yourself. I'll put my phone on silent.
All right, and I am apparently the murderous Jack. Funny story about that. I told Hack about it. First of all, does anyone else have weird fever dreams? Because in my fever dream last night, it was Ghetto says, "Oh, the Sanjo, he is here." I could hear the sick in your voices.
All right, I'm back. I'm not sick. Who told you I'm? Wait, I did. I said I'm sick.
But yeah, my fever dream, to cut it quick and simply, usually my dreams are like very vivid. At least I could see what happens. But this one was more like everything was silhouettes and an impossibly high building. And I think I murdered someone. And then I was trying to prove that I murdered them. Like, not even in a sadistic way, more like, how could I have done this? My own guilt type of thing. And everyone else was just like, nah, you're framed. You were framed. Someone else did this. And I shared them like the evidence. They're like, nah, you're framed.
It is he told me this earlier. Very strange dream. Very strange dream indeed. And it probably wasn't fun at the time. But it makes more sense than my dreams. My dreams never make any sense. They're either just weird dreams to be weird, or very mundane. Like,
Ghetto says, yep, I dreamt there were 40 circus strongmen wrestling in my walls.
Oh! You see? Dog, you're killing Jack with that. You see, the reason why you dreamt that is because your brain is trying to find a way to bring out the gay in you. And apparently, you not consciously but subconsciously, Ghetto, you have a thing for 1940s strongmen. There's something about, big muscly bound men wearing a leotard that just tickles your button, so to speak. Tickles your button on the Ghetto machine. Am I right? Oh, God. In any case, actually. So actually, sickness aside, I'm actually pretty excited about this episode because I want to share something that I literally, I kid you not, I've not stopped thinking about it since last night, and I almost ruined my sleep. And I'll dig into that in a little bit. Once we get a bit of a crowd going, then I'll start going more into what the heck was what I was thinking about, my epiphany, as the title suggests. Ghetto says, I hate and love that. Referring to my interpretation of his dreams. Me being little Joseph over here. Well, better that than saying, oh, the strawman, oh, you're about to experience 40 years of famine. So,
Nah, the 40 stands for the man that he's gonna fall, the age of the man he's gonna fall in love with.
Oh no, he's going to fall in love with a DILF.
And the strong man means that this person is very firm in his beliefs, and that he will be strong enough to support the relationship.
He'll say, "Don't worry, Ghetto. I can carry the both of us." And then
Don't worry.
it's all romantic. And he says that as he's carrying Ghetto out of the burning building, because
Don't worry.
he forgot to turn the oven off. Because in this situation, he's the lady.
And then as it says, the wall. The reason why the strong man is the walls is because there is a bad side to him. He does set up these walls that could potentially blind you, but if he opens up with mirrors, with windows, sorry, you will be able to see outside and be able to have the safety within him. Beautiful.
All right, I know about Ghetto's dream. I'm sure he's typing something very witty in the comments, or not. But
Hijack the dream interpreters.
we're hourly, so we don't mind all the long way. Just letting you know, we're hourly here.
If we're hourly, then we're gonna have to extend that dream interpretation for more than 1 hour.
Well, you know what? It'll be. You know what? It'll help flow my creative juices. I can really stretch my imagination. It would just be like being a fortune teller. I'll just tell things that the person wants to hear, and add in general truths about everyone, and make it think, how did he know? Hey, but actually, I want to just I'll share a little thing I saw. It's very quick, little quick news story.
All right.
And so it has to do with Sony, and it seems, and I was actually, so that you can see. Oops, that's not the right button. Where's give me the URL. There you go.
Give me the Earl.
Earl. My name's
URL.
Oh, don't you mean Earl?
No, you still need the L in there.
Whatever. Okay, I sent the article and the sources. I'm gonna go ahead and show it on the screen for everyone can see. So very quick. Sony, our good Japanese video game overlords, they have patented AI, as it says here, that will play your games for you. So this is pretty much the ideal artificial intelligence for every game journalist out there in the market.
I don't know about that. Remember, the guy from Cuphead couldn't beat the tutorial level, so
but the AI will.
No, because if you keep reading, it says using AI to study someone's playstyle. So the guy's playstyle didn't let him get over the tutorial.
Well, in any case, it's just a patent, but yeah, Sony has patented AI that, in theory and paper, will be able to mimic your playstyle and thus playing a game for you. Now, I don't know what their actual intentions are for this type of technology, and apparently no one has told them that AIs, this doesn't seem like they end up in always in good endings, or at least that's what sci-fi has told me. But
does this mean you could teach the AI to teabag?
Yes, not in Halo though, but in whatever it will be in your, but definitely in Call of Duty. Now, let's see, and reading a bit more of this. Honestly, it sounds like something that they just want to patent so they can say they have it, and who knows if it actually amounts to anything. If anything, the final product could be something that's probably 10% of what people are thinking about, like I don't know, maybe having some sort of AI companion with you on certain games or in the PlayStation console itself, similar to like Alexa or use Microsoft's or Cortana.
I'm
I
just
I could see
the
something
one
like
thing
that.
that the one thing that confuses me of the whole thing is that so this is for like co-op based, or is it actually like literally will take over your game?
Um, from what I'm reading, it says that you can assign it to do specific things. So you could assign it to to either play a single player game or to compete online. I don't know how that will work.
Hey AI, be a Twitch streamer for me, and I'll just react.
React to the AI's gameplay. My
Hey, it's supposed to be mimicking your gameplay, so what's the difference?
that is true. Although I think it says here that it'll be like for co-op games, so like so it's not something gonna be in in competitive multiplayer games. But still, though, it's I don't I just don't see how this will take off in any meaningful way. It just seems like it's just something they want to patent and maybe think about putting big funds into this if they want to. I mean, keep in mind this is the same Sony company that they invested so much in making their VR for their PlayStation 4. And what did it amount to? Not much.
Yeah,
Like I like and after the initial launch of it, and I have like never bought any new VR games for the for the VR for my PS4, and like the only big game I have for it is just RE7, and I tried playing that on VR, and I mean it's doable, but man, just your eyes start to fog up and your head starts hurting after a good while. I can't imagine doing daily sessions of that. That's probably what turned me off the most.
but
Is
hey, oh sorry, that was gonna be a good joke, and I guess nature says no.
that probably sucked anyways.
It was about Batman, how I broke the game.
Oh yeah, what happened in Batman? The Batman VR game that I still don't know if it's canon or not. Either case that was just I don't know what was the point of that game. Just like they
Sorry,
need.
I sorry, I couldn't hear a thing. I was coughing, but at the same time, apparently my Discord froze.
Okay. I was wondering because you were. It says you were muted, but I could still hear you.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh man, it's you know what? It's gonna be a low energy. It's gonna be a low energy stream. Yeah, it's go pretty low because we're not gonna chill like that. Not because we're sick. Definitely not
Oh,
because we're sick.
so I guess to explain what might be happening to my PC, um, for everyone, because I'm currently waiting right now on. So I got my hard drives, my new ones. I think the current hard drive I have is failing on me because it's. So I did have a little bit of an accident with my computer. I was like spinning on my chair and it hit my computer. Like it nudged it. It didn't hit. Like I nudged it and it like tilted and then stood upright again. But I guess that little bit of jiggling caused the hard drive to kind of like mess up because my screen went black for a second
Oh
and then
boy.
like everything was back to normal. Like it came back on perfectly fine. I think that's what ended up happening because ever since then nothing's been the same. So I'm pretty sure my hard drive jiggled up a little bit and then now is failing on me. And so I bought a new one, different brand. Never again gonna use Barracuda.
Barracuda.
And Hopefully that'll fix everything, because maybe that's the reason why my Discord keeps like doing that.
Well,
Especially after 8. I don't know why after 8 it does that.
hopefully so. And if it doesn't solve that, well, maybe it's just like with Street Fighter 5. Maybe it just doesn't like your PC. Oh, but also, guess what? You know what? I'll share the misery, because I also lost a hard drive this past week as well.
Oh.
Not for my computer or anything, but I lost my hard drive to my Wii U.
Oh.
And at first I just thought, oh well, maybe it's the AC adapter, because it's one that needed an AC adapter. I thought it was that. So I went to Amazon, ordered another AC adapter, and once I tried it, nope, still didn't power on or anything. And I tried replugging my data to different devices, seeing if anything will pick up. And I plug into my PC laptop, because it didn't even recognize it. So it's like completely dead, and all of my like downloaded games on my Wii U are in that thing, and I cannot get them back.
No. Oh, that sucks.
And so I probably have to buy, hopefully, I guess, a more convenient hard drive for my Wii U, because look, I still care for the thing. I still play it from time to time. So and I bought a good amount of games on that machine, so I'm not letting that go to waste. It's the same thing I did with my Wii. Got myself a nice, decent sized SD card, and just put all the things I downloaded from the Wii Shop channel onto that card.
That's sad. Rest in peace.
Rip. Although that hard drive did last a while, because I think I got that back in 2016. I want to say. So it lasts a pretty good long time.
That's pretty good.
I guess it was just its time. Oh, and if anyone is curious, it was a Seagate hard drive.
Seagate's okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I chose it because at the time, I think the Wii U is like very picky on what hard drives it's compatible with, and Seagate tended to be the one that was compatible with little to no issues.
At least, I never knew that.
At least that's what I remember doing. It certainly wasn't for the price. I'll tell you that for free. It certainly was not for the price.
How much was it?
I don't remember. Hold on. Actually, if I go... Nah, I don't want to go through my Amazon account.
Even then, the price changed.
Actually,
most likely.
Actually, when I did check to see if I get another one, it was worse than that. It's not even available anymore.
Oof.
Also, Ghetto says he just realized YouTube censored his funny comment. What?
Nani?
What?
Nani?
What?
You're right. I don't see the comment anywhere in the live chat.
No, not here, man. You know, it must have been really funny if YouTube thought it was a no word. Did you tell YouTube you're black? I mean, they'll let you get away with it. Oh well, moments pass anyways. For the joke, I assume. So we must
never. I want to hear
it. Why? Oh, but him saying SOB makes it into the comment. So I guess he said something that was really, really bad. Because just like Vegeta, he's a bad man.
Oh, he did have the N-word in there. Tell them you're black. They'll give you the pass again.
But you gotta say it loud though. You gotta say it loud. You gotta say it loud that you're black and you're proud.
Like, you know what? Just hop on into the stream and say it.
Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him. We don't need another. We don't need another N-word stream. We already met that quota. We already had our N-word stream.
Oh yeah, we did.
Oh, he said the other one, the Spanish variant.
Ah yeah.
Ah, yes. I can say it because it just means a color. Negro. Exactly.
Sí.
It's just a color.
Nomás un color.
Mm-hmm.
Y también, hablamos de negritos así también.
Nah. Some put. No, I think we still need to at least do that bit where we start off as just like talking nothing but Spanish for like a good solid few minutes before like make it seem like wait, it's gonna be like a Spanish episode.
Hola. ¿Cómo están todos?
Bienvenidos al JAC Show, el special programa del español. For inglés, por inglés, por favor, levántate en tu silla y salir la. I forgot to say building in Spanish.
Edificio.
That thing, yes.
We're gonna have like, it's gonna be me saying something and then you going, what was that word again?
Exactly. Get us to do it for Cinco de Mayo. Like, oh, if it falls on a Wednesday, oh my god, it falls on a Wednesday.
Oh.
Ah! We might just have to do it. A special Cinco de Mayo episode.
It's official.
Get us to call it the Telemundo edition. Nah,
Univision.
After Univision.
Univision.
Because Univision has Sábado Gigante. And the same host. I remember like 10 years ago, I was still surprised they had like the same host.
Yeah.
Is he still hosting? Like, because I've now.
No, Sábado Gigante has been canceled. Or at least the show ended.
Oh, okay.
I remember it because I remember that last episode. He was literally saying his goodbyes on that, and everyone was crying.
The king.
Like he was walking. He walked down like the aisle and just left.
Oh man, that's some anime stuff going
Like,
on.
Yeah, he walked down the aisle, left, and everyone was like applauding while he's going down the aisle.
Oh man, let's see. Okay, so for those who don't know, what we're talking about is a I guess it was a not a variety show. It was a comedic show. I don't know. I always forget to describe it, but pretty much it was this big spectacle of a show with lots of characters and segments and so forth, and it was on a Spanish channel called Univision, and of course being called Sábado Gigante, in little translation it means giant Saturday or the big Saturday, and the show aired every Saturday, and the show always had one host, and looking here is just going from Wikipedia knowledge. The host was Don Francisco, and he was the host of that show since, if I'm reading this correct, 1962, and retired from it in 2015, which is when the show retired. So the show has been around for a long time. Long time. And also, I'm just learning this. Guess which country the show is originally from?
Salvador?
No, a little bit more south.
Where?
It is from Chile.
Ah.
So, and it looks like it wasn't until 1986 that it finally started airing on more international television.
Cool.
So, and I will admit, because I would see my family's watching this as a kid, a lot of it kind of went through my head in terms of jokes or what was going on, but it was always something I was like, something that the family always watch on those Saturday nights.
Did you always go with the fuera, fuera thing that they always did for like some parts?
I probably did. I just don't recall. Ghetto says, I really need to start watching more Spanish programs. I started that one telenovela with a crazy chick, but I couldn't find more episodes. And also Ghetto says, isn't that the show with the chick with the big boobs? I forget her name. Charo, that was it. Well, first off, if you're saying the show with the big boobs, dude, it's just Spanish television. Do you know how little that narrows it down?
Same thing with the crazy chick and telenovelas.
But I think he remember he said Charo. I'm like let's see, Charo.
Charro.
Charo.
Charro.
Charo. I'm sick. I'm sick. Don't look at me.
Charro.
Charo.
Say perro.
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 You're starting off with the perro. No, it's perro.
Perro.
Close enough.
Even to this day, I still trouble. I'm better than I was younger, but I'm still have trouble with rolling those.
It happened to me like all of a sudden that like I always had troubles, and then one day I tried it and it worked. I don't know. It just like magically happened.
Also, in looking up Shadow, I just come to learn that Elvis Presley starred in a movie which he was called Shadow.
Now, do you ever remember the show La Familia Peluche?
Hold on. Before I answer that question, okay, I remember this chick. Good gosh, she had a lot of work on her. On her face, most likely. Well, looks like a Latino Dolly Parton over here. Unfortunately, she has not aged as well as Dolly Parton. But yeah, okay, I remember this chick.
Oh yeah.
What was it? What was the show you were asking if I don't remember?
La Familia Peluche.
La Familia. Probably not. I never really actually paid attention to what was the programming. And
Let me.
And looking at it, like I'm looking at an image of it, like at least promotional images. Nah, it's not. It's not giving me any memories. Although I do recognize that one of the actors.
Which one?
I guess what we can see one of the male leads. the older gentleman, I forget his name. Yeah, that's this one.
Yeah, now he's like, of course, the most iconic. With what was her name? I forgot. Give me a second. Dang, what was her name?
Though there's so much color in everyone's clothes, like it looks like they're on a set of Power Rangers. If I'm gonna be honest, everyone's color coded. Like literally blue shirt, blue pants, orange jacket, orange pants, green hat, green overalls, green shirt. Just goddamn.
And all the clothing fur related.
even the maid has fur on her.
My favorite character on that one. I know we should be saving this for Cinco de Mayo, but I want to talk about it. My favorite character has to be the one in the orange. And you want to know why?
Why?
All right, so it starts off with the family. Initially, that child wasn't there before; he wasn't born yet. The one that the maid's carrying, it was only the green one, the one in the green, and then the one in the purple. What ended up happening, it was that there was a third child. He didn't like the family, like he didn't want to be with his family, so he then tried. I remember now. Two of the family members weren't even there, so the green one was hypnotized by the one that didn't want to be in the family anymore. To believe that they were part of the family.
What?
Yeah.
So
And
he's a member of the family, but he's not related to anyone?
yeah, the one in the green.
What the heck?
Hypnotized to be part of the family. And no one else even notices. Then the one in the orange was a robber that came to their home to steal stuff, hit his head on a pan, I think, and he was convinced that he was part of their family.
Oh. Yo, you know what? You know what? Silly that sound. That's a lot more creativity than like a regular American sitcom.
Yeah.
mostly because of just that premise alone, they're doing like it's very sketchy stuff there. Hypnotizing what looks like at least a teenager at the oldest, and just convincing the robber, yeah, you're always part of our family. Come on.
There was one point where he remembered who he was, and then they pretty much knocked him out again and made him believe that he's part of the family still.
Well, you can't break the status quo. You can't break that.
Yep.
Let's see how many episodes. Oh wow! Looks at 3 seasons and 80 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a respectable amount of numbers. Respectable.
Oh, he wasn't a robber. He was actually a policeman who Federica ran over with her car.
Oh, he went with them. They managed to keep her a gem like a bit. He was one of the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't even a robber. It's a policeman. Hey, Dago-san, you got us a good time. You're talking about an old comedy, Spanish comedy show.
Let's see, Ludovico. Oh, Ludoviquito is the youngest. Yeah, is the youngest child of the family. Federica's second son with Ludovico. The real Ludoviquito, however, is actually not seen after the first episode, in which he hypnotized a rich boy at summer camp into believing that he is Ludoviquito.
Oh, during the entire show, we don't know his real name or who his real parents are. He identifies himself as the real Ludoviquito and believes Los Pluche are his real family. He's a children known for pulling pranks and stealing. Oh my god. Gail says, I need to watch this now.
It is a great show. Oh, where's BB? Where is she? BB is like my favorite one. BB is considered La Rara, the weird one of the family. BB is the only real child of Ludovico and Federica. BB is polite and correct and has developed a great knowledge from studying, to her parents' despair as they beg her to act normal. Pretty much she's the one with reasoning of the whole family. And they always have a catchphrase for her. It's like, BB, ¿por qué no eres una niña normal? Which is, BB, why aren't you a normal child?
Oh, man.
It's hilarious.
Rex comes in, gives an inside knowledge, and he says, hypnotism is a fraud. Basically, the idiot's understanding of brainwashing. Maybe so, but it makes for good comedy, at least in this case. And now I'm actually watching the show for myself. I wonder if it's something it might be something I could easily find. I don't have to go to somewhere sketchy just to watch it. Let me check something real quick.
Imagine being a cop, get ran over by a crazy woman, and then they treat you like a 12-year-old.
Well, it wouldn't be the first Spanish show that treats an adult actor play a child character.
You can watch it in Football TV.
In what TV?
Football TV.
Football.
Season 1, Episode 9. Manifestación Gay. Ludovico se mete a una manifestación gay. Sin darse cuenta. Wait, is he actually like? Does he mean actual manifestation gay? A gay manifestation?
Yes, that goes on. We're talking about La Familia Peluche. Yes.
Mira peluche somos.
Well, I can't find it on on just a regular thing to stream, but at least here on Amazon, you can buy a DVD of it for like $13.
Really, I looked at it. It says 70.
Wait, hold on. Oh, this is just for like Volume 2, so this must be like when they were releasing the DVDs as the show was going on. Now, if it was a box set or anything like that, that's a different story. Like an entire box set, yeah, that's gonna be expensive. Oh well, still though, I'll have to keep that in mind. That's like something I need to watch.
It was pretty funny.
Like and I reiterate, unfortunately, there's not a lot of Spanish programming I remember from when I was a kid or back when my parents used to watch that. Because I only really saw that when my family used to live within my grandparents' home. But after my family moved away from the grandparents' home, like we watched little to no like Spanish television after that. so I never got to really I guess have that be even something attached to my childhood for at least not for too long, like maybe like very early years, but as soon as I started growing, I was and not being just a toddler anymore. No one in my immediate family even watch that type of TV anymore. And nowadays with all streaming, like even my grandma, it's not like she'll search up old old like telenovelas or anything. Like I said most of the time on stream, but you know what my grandma would always find her watching?
What?
She would either watch period pieces, and it could be any type of like period. It could be like a drama set in like like 1700s Mexico, 1800s Spain, or even or in one case she saw like a Victorian drama like set in England. It doesn't matter as long as like the people have these like fancy looking dresses and there's a story and there's like drama within it, she'll watch it. Doesn't matter what language. And if it's not that she's watching, then she's watching like action movies.
There was one show I remember. Oh, what was it? La Casa. There was one. Let me see. It was La Casa something. It was a comedy show.
I think the only thing that comes to mind with the title that has Mikasa is it's not even Mikasa. It's El Casa de Mi Padre. Do you remember that movie?
No.
It's the movie where you get to see Will Ferrell talk completely in Spanish.
Oh my god, seeing this gives me like flashbacks. I remember that Deadvest was like a big actor because like you pretty much saw him in almost every single segment of channels. Like he was a big comedian, and that's why I remember him mostly, especially because he had a segment and a show, and it was called La Cocina de Pepperoni. First name Pepe, last name Ronnie.
Oh, so pepperoni. Oh, okay. It's not does it play on anything Italian or is it just because of the name? If you remember.
Yeah, we can watch this one segment I found on YouTube.
Oh, YouTube better not shaft us for this.
Do you think that they're gonna shaft us for Spanish? Nah, they don't care about Spanish people. They don't care about the Hispanics. They care about their own American money.
To be fair, the dollar's more than the peso. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Oh man.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, let me put it up there right now. And I'm gonna take a little risk here because of course I'll show in the stream for all of y'all to see, but I'm gonna have to look over at the studio mode just in case there was like, oh, the copyright, blah 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 blah. All right, there we go.
I'm sure all of our fans are gonna know exactly what they're gonna be saying.
Look, all right, look. Hey, look, they're here for us. We can translate. Well, mostly you will translate if things don't fall in. And to be fair, like for most Spanish comedies, it's mostly slapstick and puns when we think about it.
Yep.
But all right, I have the video up, so I'll count it down. We can start.
Ready,
set, go.
good. Long see you.
God dang it, YouTube! They caught it.
Dang.
Oh, we have to stop there. No sense in watching it on our own if they're not gonna, get the visual cues. God dang it. Oh, it was fun while it lasted.
It was fun while it lasted. That's why I loved him.
Oh my god. And lucky enough, even in my limited Spanish, I was able to catch the jokes. I think the Sal Hayek one got me the most. I was not expecting a picture of her.
No. Yeah. That one was funny.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Welcome, Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage
just says, bro. I know, huh? Douglas says Spanish, Swedish. They both start with an S, so I basically understand. So that also means that Dunkelzon, you understand Swahili. And trying to think of another wait, hold on, no. Technically Spanish or Espanol starts with an E. So got you there.
I think one that made me really laugh as a child was when he said that he needed cebolla de rabo, which for people to know is just green onions, but in Spanish we call it cebolla de rabo. And pretty much he stuck an onion between his butt cheeks and then like threw it into the pan. Oh, there it is. I found it. Too bad I can't show it though. I'll show it to the hack here for the future.
And I'll probably watch it later when the stream's over. But I think we're good here because we're about we're about a good 45 minutes in. We got a bit of a crowd going, so I'm gonna go ahead and share what I wanted to share because I've actually been. I mean, I'm excited for every week, every episode, but this week I'm more excited than usual.
Oh wait, hold on. I gotta help Ghetto here. Ghetto, what's Sagandis?
Oh, shut up! Oh.
Hey, I gotta help the man. He'll say it in a bit.
Douglas says Espanol and English both start with an E, so I'm still fine. And apparently nearly fluent Samoan too. Oh man.
Sudanese?
He was actually trying to be like say actual language. When I saw that, I didn't pronounce it that way. You know how I pronounced that?
Sugondese?
No, close. It was Sugondis.
Sugondis.
Yeah, I thought.
Sugondis.
Because I thought it was trying to sounds African. So I was like, okay, say like in an African accent.
Damn, Ghetto, you can't leave me hanging. I gave you I took the bait for you. Come on, you gotta finish it at least.
Come on, don't leave him half-mass.
Don't leave me up.
Give him the climax he wants.
The climax. Oh no! Don't give him any ideas.
We're at the rise in
Yeah,
action.
there-
Come on.
Get us at it. There it is.
Sagandis. There we go. I see it now. And release.
By the way, you need to set up your. You need to switch your chat from top chat to live chat.
Oh, I have the live chat, but on like showing it through here on OBS, it just presents it that way. But I'm looking at the live chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, trust me. I try to save that with something I could fix. No, it just tells me I really need to get into using StreamYards. But regardless, I'll do that pretty soon. But to go on to the title for this episode, so so I had an epiphany, but more so I had a Jack, tell me if you have if you have these nights. Do you sometimes have these nights where a whole bunch of ideas start to just like get into your skull as you're trying to sleep, therefore not allowing you to sleep at all?
Yes.
So that happened to me last night, and usually I'll think of this stuff, and then by the next morning I either vaguely remember it or I just completely forget about it entirely and just kind of move on. Not this case though, because this one I was like, because this one I was thinking about this thing all of last night, which caused me to get the terrible amount of sleep, and like all morning. So, and I give a hint about it in the Discord of, you know, what subject it is, and subject is Spider-Man. But what about Spider-Man? Well, it's simple enough. For some reason, even though I didn't read no Spider-Man comic, I didn't watch anything Spider-Man related yesterday, somehow he came to my head in the middle of the night, mentally speaking, and I thought to myself, you know what? What would be my version of, what would be my Spider-Man 4? Like if the series continued, what would be my Spider-Man 4 of the Sam Raimi movies?
With Tobey Maguire, right?
Yes, that series, and I was and then I got to thinking. He's like, you know what? I got it. I thought of something that is actually pretty crazy to do, because it's a very infamous storyline within Spider-Man stories, and what it was is like, you know what?
What?
Spider-Man 4 will be a loose adaptation of the Clone Saga.
Clone Saga?
The Clone Saga. And now this was a story in the 90s. Essentially, this was a whole big convoluted story of when Peter Parker's clone came back. And during that, when that was going on, there was initially there was supposed to be this big twist where the reader learned that the Peter Parker they've been following for a good number of times wasn't the real Peter Parker from the beginning. It was actually a clone. But through a whole bunch of editorial stuff and rewrites and just mismanagement, that almost interesting premise becomes like a whole like topic in of itself. But it's still an integral part of the Spider-Man lore. And as far as I know, no, I have not seen other media aside from comics ever tackle this storyline. Not even like the very first original story where it was pretty cut and dry, where a Spider-Man copy appears out of nowhere and Peter has to deal with them. So I was like, okay. I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this really convoluted and honestly just out there storyline and see how can I do within the world and within the world of the Sam Raimi movies, Tobey Maguire movies. So, and here's what I thought about. I essentially got a beginning to end scenario going, and you'll be able to follow along because I'll have to be borrowing bits and pieces that are inspired from other Spider-Man stories. So essentially, we're not going to ignore since we're going by the assumption that the movie would theoretically take place in current day, we had to address that everyone has gone old, or at least older. You know, all the actors, and thus this will be set in a so the story will start off where Peter's like in his middle age and he's actually married to MJ. So after the event of Spider-Man 3, you know, their relationship got really rocky, but they were able to heal, and they're actually married, living together, and Peter's actually living the good life because he's living in a good house with a wife, and he is a professor at a university. And at this point he actually has retired being Spider-Man. I don't know whether or not he will retire right after the events of Spider-Man 3, or just something he did as time went on because he was getting too old. But he's retired. And so that's where you have Peter going on in this situation. He's no longer wearing the costume, and I was even thinking of a moment where he almost kind of just doesn't want to really think about that time, because he mostly thinks about all the terrible times that happened, which admittedly a lot of terrible things has happened with, you know, Uncle Ben dying, Harry Osborn dying, Norman Osborn dying, I don't know, Octavius dying.
Yeah.
So it's not something he doesn't really fondly look back much. And I'd even thought of the scene where you see Mary and Peter wake up in bed, and you see him, and you see her. She wears, she has like a white shirt with Spider-Man's face on it, and Peter goes to them like, MJ, can you get rid of the shirt? And she thinks he's being flirtatious. It's like, oh, it's 6 in the morning. You already want me to take my clothes off, to kind of bring in that dynamic, because in the comics, then like there was like not one panel where they were being like super flirtatious with each other. So I wanted to bring a little bit of that in to show like they're a loving couple. But it's just there to present that that he just moved on from being Spider-Man. Now, and as we go on to some other things have changed as well. Obviously, you know, Harry Osborn's no longer around, and so the only really returning characters are gonna be, as far as the major, Peter and Mary Jane, and a few minor characters as well. For all the Daily Bugle stuff, J. Jonah's retired, and what would be the person running the Daily Bugle would actually be Betty Brant. If you remember, Jack, she was that secretary that worked at the Daily Bugle. That lady.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I figured it made sense because both people who are the higher ups at the Daily Bugle would be J. Jonah Jameson and Robbie Robinson. They're both very much older men, and they're both at the retirement age. So she is running the Daily Bugle, and I'll add this just for the sake of it. She marries John Jameson. So she married Jonah's son. Remember the astronaut from Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
They're married, and they have a friendly relationship with Mary and Peter. And this is also just to include a joke, because since technically, or not technically, literally, Peter kind of cucked him from him marrying MJ in Spider-Man 2. So I'm going to kind of play off that a little bit, where trying to show like he's gotten over it, but he was like very pissed off at Peter for MJ doing that. Like it'll be like a little joke going, a little joke. You know, is like, you know you're technically married a divorced woman, right? And he goes, well, that's how it works. Just little stuff like that. Now, how does it get into all the clone stuff? So I'm in this scenario because when thinking this through, all of this is setting up forward is a big scene where it's a big award ceremony. Because Peter, he is this very much accomplished professor, and like he has made a very big accomplishments. One of the ones I thought that I wanted for him to do was that number one, he refined and perfected Dr. Octopus's trinium technology from Spider-Man 2 again, so that now they're in this world where literally, as Dr. Octopus says, everyone now has the power of the sun in their palm of their hands. Peter perfected that, and so he makes a living not just teaching, but he patented it, and he made that he made a game changer to energy worldwide. So Peter has a lot of success to him, as well as many other scientific discoveries and theses and doctorates, whatever, all that type of stuff. So Peter is living the good life, and in the award ceremony, he is getting some lifetime achievement award for for the sciences that the university has given him. And as he's about to go present the award, someone comes up to him and says, "Excuse me, Dr. Parker. Someone told me to give this to you." And he takes it, and in the card, it says, "I know who you are, Spider-Man."
Mm-hmm.
And thus, and then right and there, Spider-Man, Peter's spidey senses starts tingling. He goes, "Oh wait," and it's very much something he was not expecting, especially at this little gala event he's in.
Mm-hmm.
And so he then tries to figure out who knows him, because already happens that he just gets that warning. There's no big moment where like a villain comes or anything like that. I thought about doing that, but it kind of ruined the suspense of what it's trying to be. So then he's trying to figure who it is, and he's thinking about all the people who could have known he's Spider-Man, and unfortunately, most of the people who do know who he is are dead.
Yeah.
Sad to say. And so the only person he could think of is Flint and Marco. However, ever since the events of Spider-Man 3, he doesn't know where Marco is doing. So even if he did know, he has no way of finding him. And even then, Peter's like, it doesn't make any sense. We reconciled by the end, so he shouldn't. So unless he's changed or trying to go after me again, this doesn't seem like something he would do. He wouldn't try to, I guess, warn me about this. He was just going after me.
Yeah.
And thus, this leads to that he leaves the party early, let MJ know what's going on. And then his Spidey senses tingles again, and he notices he sees someone up in the roof, and he assumes that, okay, this person must know something. And thus they have a little chase where Peter is chasing this mysterious stranger. He catches him, and then once he does, you realize that he unveils him, because his face is kind of has a mask on. He can't really see him. He uncovers him, and he sees it's his younger self. Like he's looking at himself when he was like 22 or 21. Of course, completely shocked. Like, whoa, what the heck? Like, the only real difference is that his hair is blonde instead of being a brunette. That's the only difference.
Then he proceeds to do the finger guns.
Sure, why not? And so this happens, and so of course Peter has tons of questions, and thus the clone, he then says to him, I don't really have a proper name, so I just call myself Ben, because it turns out the clone, even though he was created mere months ago, he has all of Peter's memories. So the clone remembers Uncle Ben, even though he never met him or even experienced what happened to him, but he remembers. And so he uses that name to kind of comfort Peter a little bit, or just the only name he knows.
Dunkel's he's asking, how old is your Peter in the story?
He
should be
middle age.
Like,
yeah, so that's why it's astonishing he's looking at a younger version of himself. And so from there, of course, that's when you get to where you get the big thing, okay, what's going on? Why is there a clone of me? And Ben is asking Peter that he needs its help because he's not the only clone around.
Now, this is just more of like a physical thing for me. Would a blonde Tobey Maguire look good?
Well, but here's the thing though, because I was really thinking about this. I was thinking, should it be like a literal, like looking like like identical to Tobey Maguire, and decided to change it just a little bit and saying he looks similar but is not identical. He's still technically a clone. It's just that he's not an identical clone.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. In the Clone Saga, there was another character who was also a big part of that. And I'll get to that character in a moment.
All right.
So Ben starts telling Peter, okay, look, I need your help because you're the original and you're the only person who can help me stop the creation of these spider clones. And so Peter is thinking of course it takes Peter some process to process this, and you get scenes where he feels like he's back, he has to be Spider-Man again, and he's like doesn't really want to, because he put that behind him, and he's talking to Mary Jane, and Mary Jane, she's the one that goes, Peter, meeting your clone is not just like meeting an old friend. This is something you have to deal with, whether as Spider-Man, or as Peter. And so through their short conversation after that scene's over, Peter, albeit reluctantly, dons his costume again and goes to meet with Ben to solve this clone mystery. Now, I haven't thought every single detail, but essentially, I went through like, okay, how the clone stuff works, and unfortunately, that was actually the hardest part to think about, because I was trying to think of myself, how exactly did like someone get a DNA from Peter Parker? And actually, that's the still part I have not wrapped my head around, because I thought I've considered like maybe someone took his spit, someone took his blood, but like in situations how that makes sense that someone will get it, and honestly, I have no good answer for that. So luckily, so that's probably one of the things that's kind of unsure of this little made up sequel, is that I don't know how they got the DNA. So if this was a real project, I would have tried to find something, but as it stands, it's just an important detail that I just have to overlook for now. So what it turns out of how this whole clone stuff begins with is this. So so you remember how Gwen Stacy was actually in Spider-Man 3?
Yeah.
Right. So what's to do with her is that after the events of Spider-Man 3, much like in the comics, she actually goes to Europe and stay there for a while, like in the comics. And in this case, and while she's in Europe, she meets an up and coming geneticist, and I'm trying to remember his real name, because he's also a real character from the comics. I'm trying to remember, his villain name is the Jackal. But I'm trying to remember, but I don't want to include him, because that's just that's already putting like a lot of villains into one movie, so I don't want to do that. So I want to kind of keep things more streamlined. Okay, so Miles Warren. So she meets Miles Warren in Europe, and it's through here it's where Gwen Stacy becomes a part of his clone project, and so that's what she's been doing for all these years. She's been with him and trying to help succeed in this, and as we are in where the story will take place. So she's been with her for all these years, and as well, not only are they partners together and trying to create successful cloning, but they also form a romantic relationship, and to make like it's slightly different. It's much more different in the comics, where Miles Warren, he had like a very much an unrequited love towards Gwen Stacy. So a lot of his actions in the original story is more like out of jealousy, because Peter like Gwen's heart. In this case, but in this story, it's like no, they're not the same age. He's just like slightly older gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's not platonical. It's a consensual romantic relationship, and no kind of weird stuff going on there. No like weird teacher student thing, even if they're like adults. So what ends up happening is that somehow Miles Warren he gets a hold of Spider-Man's DNA,
Mm-hmm.
and and as to why he's like, okay, why do you want to make clones of Spider-Man? Pretty much he's getting over his head at this point. He wanted to see if he can create not just humans but but superhumans. And Gwen is trying to tell him, like, no, it's like, look, we accomplished so much things so far. If in trying to inject a clone with radiated spider venom, you know, who knows what could go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's another type of mad scientist sort of I guess antagonist initially. But it's I think it's tried and true, and there's like a lot of Spider-Man villains that you can describe as mad scientists to begin with anyway, so might as well keep the tradition up. And so inevitably he creates the first clone, which turns out to be the most disastrous clone. And this is a Peter clone who is vicious, who's very savage, who's very Sag-like and very deformed, since he's like the first attempt, and because of that, he ends up killing Gwen Stacy and escaping the lab that they're in, and thus Miles Warren realizes that, oh no, you know, my creation has killed the woman I love more than the world, and now he's out there confused and most likely will terrorize people.
Mm-hmm.
And this clone, and he will be a antagonist for the film. He will be as the more violent clone from the comics. He'll be called Kane. Yes, that's his name, Kane. As to how he gets his name Kane, I haven't thought of that, but that's what his name is. So he's Kane. And so just imagine a more deformed and almost like more buffed up Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
Yeah. So now now comes the creation of Ben. So Miles determined to not only complete his project, and he decides to do something that he theorizes will be more stable, and try to create something out of a clone of one person's DNA. He decided to create it out of two. And so the kind of little twist here that I'm putting in is that Ben Reilly, while he is a clone of Peter by scientific means, technically he is an offspring of Peter and Gwen Stacy, because Warren, he has some fertilized eggs of Gwen Stacy, which was part of a little I may or may not use like some sort of problems in their marriage, and that they couldn't get kids. So he has to fertilize it, and he uses that to give Ben a more, I guess, would be more natural birth.
Mm-hmm.
And thus you have the more the clone that succeeded with Ben Reilly.
Mm-hmm.
And Ghetto, actually, yeah, it slightly does kind of turn into Logan, but less depressing, and but yeah, less depressing. Wait, Ghetto says, "I'm so glad you didn't say Peter and Norman like Superboy." Not sure what that reference here. So go back to my story. Remember, keep in mind, I was like thinking about all this all night, even though I did not want to, because I needed to sleep. I gotta wake up in the morning for work.
I don't know why you all of a sudden have these things.
It just comes to me. I wasn't even thinking about Spider-Man all of yesterday, not even once, and then just all of a sudden, hey, when it would be a cool sequel? It's like, okay, brain, that'll take me down this rabbit hole. So Ben Reilly, in this case, is not a identical clone of Spider-Man, but technically an offspring of Peter and Gwen. That's why he has the blonde hair. It's not he didn't dye it. It's his natural blonde. And so, and so the movie is Peter. It's Peter and Ben working together to find and stop Kane, who is like, you know, ravaging around New York City while going through like his own identity crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole structure of the movie would be, at least the more, I'm sorry, the care and what the not. I'm sorry. Let me start over. And the entire journey of the movie is that it's Peter. It's number one, Peter coming to no longer reject his super identity and to embrace it, while also trying to guide Ben, who essentially is like only a few months old, and try to direct him. He's thrust into this world of being a superhero, and he doesn't know what the heck to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so in a way, they have a sort of father-son bonding moment. And I thought that would be a good way to do that, because then it will parallel where there's another sub-story where it turns out Mary Jane is pregnant. So, and so you have Peter, obviously excited for MJ having their baby, which for the fans in the chat, it will be a girl, so it will be Mayday Parker. And so, but of course, it's Peter about to become a dad, so of course he's nervous, he's anxious. And on top of that, he has to be Spider-Man. He has to be Spider-Man one last time and help his literal test tube baby, essentially, to help him be Spider-Man. So that's mostly gonna be like the theme, the theme of the movie, of course, of passing the torch, and of having having a sort of mentor-student type story, which very similar to like Spider-Verse in a way, very similar to that. Which again, it's a good writing tool that when done well works really well and can resonate with a lot of people. So, and that's what I wanted, and that's what I wanted to be if I ever had the Spider-Man 4. Now, as for the action or set pieces, I didn't think that far ahead. I was just more like what the story beats would be. And I actually have thought of 2 alternate endings for this movie, because I'm coming to the end. 2 alternate endings. First ending would be where after the day is saved, Peter, he in essence gives his blessing to Ben to be like, no, you go be Spider-Man. And Peter then returns back to his normal life, secure knowing that his legacy and his name is in good hands with Ben Reilly, and it ends with Ben Reilly doing like the final swing of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's option 1. That's the ending 1. The other one I thought would be also neat was after the story concludes, there's a little epilogue where it jumps about, let's say, 15 years into the future, and you see the Peter and Mary Jane's daughter. She's grown up, and she has realized that she herself has spider powers. And so Peter then, who's a much older man, it's like coming up in his maybe late 50s, early 60s. He then tells her, oh, it's like, all right, May. Looks like it's time for you to learn how to properly use your powers. So it ends on like in a big family shot where you have Peter Parker with his daughter, May, and with him is Ben Reilly, or as May calls him, Uncle Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And thus it ends with the family of the family of the Spider-Man plus Spider-Girl, swinging, doing the last swing, showing that another way that the Spider-Man legacy has not only prospered, but there is a future for the Parker family.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I have thought about in this theoretical Spider-Man 4. And Douglas says, well, HAC, looks like you figured out the art of sequel baiting. Well, I'm not gonna disagree. Those two endings, yeah, they very much are sequel baiting, but it's a good type in that if there's no more movies after that, that's all good. It's a good conclusion. And if there's more, well, you'll be focusing on a new protagonist, which coincidentally is what the comics tried to do back in the 90s, where Peter Parker at one point did retire from being Spider-Man, and Spider-Man was Ben Riley for a decent amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So again, something that's akin to something that was done in the comics, but I want to do it much better. So, and yeah, that's all I have in terms of my thoughts on this theoretical Spider-Man 4 in the Sam Raimi trilogy, Sam Raimi quadrilogy. Any questions?
Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
I had to share it. Like I know
It was entertaining. I mean, that's always the good thing about it is I can imagine it very well in my head.
Oh yeah, and welcome Gemini. I see him and I see him. Welcome. and I had to share, like, literally it was like, at the very least, at least I want to have it publicly recorded. So I was like, if anyone comes up with this idea in a Spider-Man movie, you know where it's from. You can that person will have to give me credit for giving this inspiration. But it'll never happen because the Clone Saga is just too messy for any decent writer to want to touch. But it's one of those things where take something that was originally a negative and make it a positive. Ghetto ass. What happens to the landlord's attractive daughter, Mr. Dickovich? Mr. Dickovich's daughter. Ghetto, come on. She's better than MJ. You think anyone's better than MJ, which is your opinion. You know, I get it. Well, like, honestly, she looked kind of, I don't know, she looked kind of funny looking to me. She needed a sandwich a bit, but she was cute. Yeah, I think she was a bit too thin for my taste. We'll have to miss Mr. Dickovich's daughter. Well, if you care that much about her, then I would say, oh, I got it. She is still around. I would say she finds herself a husband. She's being a mother, and you know what? For extra measure, she also becomes May's godmother.
Ooh.
Yeah, or even if that doesn't make sense, because I don't think Peter is religious in any case. But she's like a close friend of the family. I can at least do that much. Because I know some people, like Ghetto, I like that character. Or at least think she's cute enough. I was like, come on. Don't let her do nothing. Oh, and of course, there will be a Bruce Campbell. There will be a Bruce Campbell cameo somewhere in this theoretical movie.
Woo!
There you go. And let's see, anything else I need to address? Oh, that's right. Like I saw you. We said about how would Warren get Peter's DNA. You said you suggested that they found the blood-covered pumpkin blade from the first movie after it sliced Peter's arm. I actually thought of stuff like that, where it's like, okay, what are instances where Peter's DNA was just out in the open for anyone to grab? The problem was, because so much time has passed. Let's say we even use that blade. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't know if DNA I don't know if DNA that old, especially if once it rushes into a metal, would be any useful. So for me, it doesn't make too much sense to use an old weapon like that.
Who's to say that they cloned so quickly though? Maybe it took years on this one.
It's that actually that can work, because then it'll fill in the gaps where, you know, Peter was not Spider-Man for that long, and as well with Gwen's living in Europe and meeting Miles Warren, so that could work as well. But like, yeah, I think the biggest part is just trying to figure out how the heck he gets the DNA. I didn't even try to kind of soak around it, where it's not where he doesn't get Peter's DNA at all. But it's kind of a cop out because then he's not really a clone. Then, like the best one I thought in my head was that Warren would he would use his. I was trying to okay, so here's something. So this is something I kind of had to redo because the original one was too edgy. Originally, I wanted to keep some of the darker elements of the Clone Saga, so I wanted to be where Warren kidnapped Gwen Stacy in Europe, and so she was being captive for him for years. And I was like, no, that doesn't work for this film. No, that tone's too dark. So that's why I came out with the one I have now. And actually, in regards to and I was actually going to be get out. No, come on, that's stupid. That's a throwaway line. No. But one of the other things I also a kind of story, a plot points I considered was that, because this is something that also happened in the comics, I also considered to add a bit more drama, were to add in the story where Mary Jane had a miscarriage. So I was thinking maybe trying to incorporate that because that into the plot, because they'll make much more. It'll have much more dramatic weight to it that she's gained a child, because it will be MJ and Peter's second attempt, and they're really hoping it doesn't happen like the first time. I was thinking maybe adding that, and I think you could make it work, but again, it's going to territory where it might be a bit too serious for the tone of the movie that is being presented.
Maybe the guy got it from during Spider-Man 2 when Peter was like with the symbiote. Like he went to a strip club and jizzed himself or something. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I that technically makes sense, but it's also something too silly even for those movies.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the only one I thought of, which again wouldn't technically be a clone, was to use that miscarriage story for Gwen Stacy instead of MJ, and that one of the reasons. I'm sorry, not miscarriage. That one of the reasons why Warren is so much going into wants to make clones is because Warren himself has a low sperm count, so he can't make his own children, and so as a way to essentially compensate for that, he goes into wanting to make cloning, or at the very least artificial birth. So that's kind of like one of the reasons why he goes in this direction, and it just goes haywire. But again, that would then make Ben not even tangentially related to Peter in any way, because then also like, okay, where did the spider powers come from? And it'll be like, oh well, he probably did research on old Osborn, old Osborn experiments, and he found the one about radiating spiders, and that's how he got it from. But as logic of that sense, there's no dramatic weight to it, and again, this does not make Ben. There's no blood ties for Peter and Ben to have if he's gonna be a product of Miles Warren and Gwen Stacy.
That's kind of funny too, because it just kind of makes me think of like the clone being like, "You're not my dad, Dad. But he's not your dad either. He's not even related to you."
Exactly.
And I just want to be with Spider-Man.
He gave me the spider powers. I have the radioactive spider blood. You know anyone else has radioactive spider blood?
He's the only one that gets me.
But so like that's the only thing that I am just like, I have no idea what to do, and I don't want to do something stupid like, Peter's DNA was all over town, like Ghetto suggested. Look, I know they did in the Justice League cartoon, but I still don't like that. That's one of the big retcons I dislike. I do not like how they made Terry a clone of Bruce. Terry should have just been a person separate from Bruce in every manner. I always hated uh that change to Terry. I really honestly do. Ghetto says, I just realized that this movie came out. You have Jack Texas, who never read Spider-Man Reign, posting past a lot of context talking about Peter having radioactive. Oh my god. Ah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm like, nah, if I say something like that, he would get so annoyed with me.
Yeah, that's one of the things where you don't have to address it. Like you don't have to address details like that. Don't they're not important. Like literally, they're not important to the story. It was silly in that comic, and I'm just glad that that's more of a kind of a standalone story that does its own thing and is not tied to any canon. So
makes no sense. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but it's stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. Rex says, I want everyone responsible for Rain to suffer from debilitating migraines for a period of not less than 1 year. Ghetto says, I still like Spider-Man Rain, but I wish that wasn't all the comic was known for. Yeah, I actually remember looking up stuff about its story, and it's one of the more darker and depressing Spider-Man stories, but with a which is similar to the one I presented, Jack, in that Peter stopped being Spider-Man. It's about him coming back as him. Like that was like one of the main plot points of Spider-Man Reign. But because of memes, that's now all that story is known for about radioactive semen.
Now my question is, how can Spider-Man simply retire?
Well, that one, I would make it as I have two options. One, he simply is like he's gaining there in age, and so he's not as acrobatic as he used to be. So that will cause him to get into like very much near accidents, and he starts realizing that his spider powers are becoming are working less consistently and effectively. That's one reasons. And if I do that, that could be a cool thing where just to give a little treat for the fans. Peter Parker would have like Ben Riley would have like the natural the webs coming out of his body, but because Peter can't produce it, he creates the web shooters. So Peter Parker would actually have the web shooters as a way to compensate for not able to produce web organically.
Well, didn't Spider-Man 3 did that already?
Well, with the powers being inconsistent?
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 and yeah, but that was more tied to his mental state. And actually will more help more because that would just it provides a foundation to show that, you know, Peter's powers can have a tendency to not work. And with age, that's certainly going to be the case. Because remember, in the story, we're dealing with a Parker who is middle-aged.
But even then, but the big question was that, yeah, he retires because of, like, old age. But the question is, how is he exactly... Who's, like, helping the city from, like, things like Rhino or Vulture?
This one... Yeah, it's a little... this one has a little suspension of disbelief. Essentially, what essentially happens is really no more big villains show up after the events of Spider-Man 3, and with Peter, especially with the way that movie ended, and him, you know, really wanting to leave that normal life,
mm-hmm.
It would be proper opportunity for him to step back being Spider-Man, because the New York has entered a decade of peace, so to speak, which is not something that's unheard of. You know, since we're dealing with strictly just the world of the Raimi movies, it's not like villains are coming out of the woodwork every so often. You know,
True.
and also one thing to also keep in mind is that is that because Uncle Ben's story is tied up to Sandman's story, I would also put in that Peter, he no longer uh the burden that he had with him being responsible for the death of Uncle Ben, it's no longer something he carries that is a big weight on his heart anymore. Essentially, he can move on from that because number one, he literally reconciled with his uncle's killer, and thus and thus from that ending, he could finally start trying to accomplish the goals that he wants to be. He's already gave most of his his young adult life to helping the city in every way he can, and so and so what Peter would wish he'd do is like, I want to live the life, I want to get married, I want to have kids, I want to get the career that I want to be in. And because I for one, I'm not in the mindset that Peter always has to be the young adult that's trying to get by on a daily basis, even though that was how he's always presented. The thing about Peter Parker is that he has to grow up at one point, and he has to grow up from that essentially immaturity he had as a young adult from the teenage years. And luckily with Spider-Man 3, it helped set up a natural progression where he no longer feels guilty about Uncle Ben's death. He's reconciled with that, and as well, Aunt May passes away. It's something I need to forget to mention. Aunt May passes away, and so he no longer has to look after Aunt May, and she gets a natural old age death. Nothing tragic happens. It will be a scene where him and NJ visit Aunt May and Uncle Ben's gravestone, showing that time has moved on, and so must Peter.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. I'll be reading the chat real quick. Rex says Super Requiem was one of the best things that Marvel has ever made. I actually would agree. I actually read that book. It's I would recommend that even if you don't know about Silver Surfer. That's one of those books, Jack, I recommend, especially even if you're not a comic fan. It's actually because it's a really very well written comic, and it's only one issue. It's not a series, so you don't have to follow up on anything and it's not even that long. So it's a good single issue story. Aguero says, "How does it Spider-Girl after losing a leg?" What?
Did she grow it back?
How does it Spider-Girl after losing a leg?
He does it Spider-Girl after losing a leg.
I have to type that again. I have no idea what you're talking about. Rex says, the saddest thing that they ever did was Spidey and Leia. Oh, that's okay. That's something I don't even know about. I don't know what you're referencing there, Rex. Unfortunately, Ghetto says he gets a robotic one from Reed later. Again, I don't know what you're referring to. Spidey and Tim is infuriating. Martin would hate Spider-Man for trying to console Tim. Just fear Tim. Do I know any Spider-Man character named Tim?
Tim Drake.
That's where my mind went to, but no, it's not Tim Drake. I can't think of any Spider-Man characters named Tim right now. Ghetto, besides, I don't think Raimi had an "if this be my destiny" moment, so I could buy and quit out the reconciling with Marco. Ghetto, so I still think Aunt May should have gone to glory in the 90s. Oh yeah, technically, yeah. She should have I think there were so many cases where Aunt May was going to have a natural death that was to be peaceful and would finally put the character to rest. But every time I was gonna keep her around, and it's just let the old woman die already. God dang it! Peter's no longer living with her. Oh man. And Ghetto says, I mean, he returns in Spider-Girl after losing a leg. I see. Oh, okay. You're referring to the Spider-Girl series. I haven't read it, so that's why I didn't catch that. Level 60, 255. Get rid of that. No, I wouldn't do anything where he loses a limb or anything. Just due to the fact that I want to keep this mostly closely tied to a loose adaptation of the Clone Saga and use what other sources that will help with the story. And since May Parker is just going to be a baby in the movie, there was no reason to add more elements of her original series into this if she's not going to play a bigger part in the role. Maybe that's something that can be done in theoretical future sequels, but as it stands, it's just mostly focused on the clone stuff. And Ghetto is right. The woman is old as dirt. Let her be with Ben. Exactly. Let's see. Anything else let's mention? Also, in this, also J. Jonah Jameson does come back. In this made up story of mine. Mostly just for comedy, you know. I tried to see if I could make him be part of the main story. It was like, he's gotta be for the comedy.
Can he just be back saying, "You're fired. You're rehired"?
No, he's retired. He's retired now. So I think what I can see him.
Tell the secretary to fire him.
The most I can see him do, is like he would visit the Bugle, like because he misses the place so much. So he's so like Betty Brand's like, Jameson, look, I'm in charge now, and he's like trying to critique her, like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're doing that, no. And there could be, and I think the funny moments could be more so from Jameson, Betty Brand, and his son, since Betty Brand's married to his son, so that makes Betty Brand Jameson's daughter-in-law. So you have kind of that quirky dynamic within, and
just have them talking over dinner. He's like, "So, how is everything? I saw the newspaper you made last time. Did you know how many grammatical errors you had there?"
Back in my day, you wouldn't have this type of nonsense. I was a respected paper. And I was actually thinking of one scene, like back in the party scene where the setup for Ben is. I was like thinking a moment where, because it's a big like important ceremony, because I want to make it clear that Peter, you know, he has done a lot of work within the field of chemistry and I guess atomic science. So he is a big deal in that regard within the sciences. So I was thinking of something where there's a scene where a photographer from the Daily Bugle goes to take his picture, and that's where and maybe that's something mentioned about Jonah, or Peter will be like, hey, I remember when he used to do that. or something, or maybe better. Jameson is in attendance at the ceremony, and then Jameson is like, you know, you done well for yourself, Parker. Not bad for a mediocre photographer.
Yeah.
So, you know, something like that. Rex, I don't have to read that. Gal says, I say you should complain about people not reading papers, but the rain movies take place in the early 2000s, where everyone's so out like the 90s to 60s. I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, keep in mind, there's like in the Spider-Man 2, a whole bunch of people saw Peter Parker as Spider-Man, and even though it's 2004, camera flip phones were a thing. So,
well, remember, they all protected his identity.
I know that's what makes it special. That's what makes it a very special moment. But like if you want to add that bit of like realism, maybe even a bit of cynicism into it, you know, that's what the people would react.
That one asshole that just like that goes ahead and uncovers his identity.
I actually considered to do something like that, like for this story, where like they're known as like they're this like a group that they're all together by knowing Peter's identity. I thought I'd do something like that, but I was like, it doesn't really go anywhere, and I don't really know how to tie it to the clone story, so I kind of just threw that away. It was a neat idea, but there's nothing I could really do with it. And I think, yeah, for now, then I think I'll stop there, because I keep thinking about it. I'll probably think of more things that want to refine or change or even add to this non-existent movie. But you know what? Better this than what they're doing in the actual films. Like have you heard what they're gonna do for the next MCU Spider-Man movie? Oh no, I think Jack froze. Jack has frost. Well, while he gets his Discord in check, let me read the chat real quick. Even if somebody did that, they wouldn't be able to see who he is since camera phones had terrible quality back then. If you're taking pictures of something far away, that's true. That's true. So it's one of those things. Is like it's definitely one of those moments where not only just a suspension of disbelief, but just accept it for what it's trying to be.
I apologize. I left. Try to cover cough and my Discord went kablooey.
Oh boy. Well. I was gonna ask you. Did you hear the news of what's gonna be happening in the next MCU Spider-Man movie?
No, I actually haven't been watching any of the Spider-Mans, which I probably should, just because like I do have Disney Plus.
Actually, they're not on Disney Plus.
Well, then never mind.
Like, you should watch the Spider-Man shows that are on Disney Plus. I recommend that.
I watched it before.
They
were fine.
You watched Spectacular Spider-Man?
Yeah.
How about the '90s show?
The '90s show.
The '90s, yeah. It's called Spider-Man: The Animated Series.
Oh, that I vaguely remember it.
You should give it a watch. I think you have a lot of fun, especially since it's if you like that show does not understand what pacing means. So like everything, a lot of things are going on like every 2 seconds, and it's actually for the most part like one of the more faithful adaptations to the comics. So that's probably as close you'll get to seeing a more comic accurate Spider-Man. But the original thing I was gonna say was that for this third MCU Spider-Man movie, they literally confirmed that Dr. Octopus would be in the movie, as in the same Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2. He somehow survived and ends up in this version of Spider-Man. I have no idea what they're gonna do, and it's just a stupid decision either way. And I love it how that there's I just love this, to the fact that these newer movies, they literally have to rely on in some manner the older movies, whether it's characters, actors, in order to do something interesting for the next movie. It's just very interesting that they're that little confidence in this new take of Spider-Man, that they have to borrow things from the older films. Rex says, "I'll chase it to the ends." Oh wait. Oh, actually, I think the show that clip's very, very quick. You ever seen that scene, Jack, where Spider-Man screams at the top of his lungs, "I'll chase you to the ends of the earth"?
No.
Oh, I gotta show you. It's very quick. So yeah, I can show it on the. I can show it on the stream. It's a very quick scene. Let's see. I'll chase you to the ends of the earth. Let's see, here it is. All right, I want to send it you to the sources. There you go. It's very clear. It's a 17-second clip, and I'll play it for the audience just so we can watch it. Let me know when you're ready.
Let's see, ready.
All right, press and play in 3, 2, 1, play.
Get back here, Shocker! Shocker! You can't escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
Jesus Christ.
if
Damn.
I
Like,
if I
that
was
was killer intent right there on that line.
that's a Saiyan scream if I ever heard one. If my voice wasn't suffering right now, I would try to at least do that somewhat, but there's no way. Oh, and the funny part is you screaming at to Shocker of all villains, C tier. But I do love the fear in Shocker's eyes. He's like, "Oh crap! Oh no, he's serious."
Yeah, I mean, that was killer intent in that voice.
Gil says, "Damn, can't we get a Spider-Man movie where the dude just fights a bad guy in the city? Don't care if I see him do it in Acid Times. I'm watching Spider-Man because I want to see him do it again." No, you gotta have a convoluted story, and somehow it's Tony Stark's fault. Alright, remember, Jack, every time it's Tony Stark's fault, because the Marvel movies have to be about Tony.
You weren't there for me. That's all I remember from that one scene with Tony Stark and Spider-Man.
Which one was it?
It was just like, it wasn't "you weren't there for me." It was like something along that line where after he messed up saving a bus or something like that, Tony had to come in and save it.
Oh, that's right. It was in the first MCU movie where the boat split in half.
Yeah.
And there was, and again, borrowing from like the Raimi movies, they had the imagery of Spider-Man like trying to hold on to like this giant this giant thing coming apart and it's pulling him forward. I'm like, oh come on, that's.
But in this one, he failed.
Yeah, they clearly wanted to deal with their train thing. It's like, okay, you know what they could have done? He could have just like, oh look, something's gonna fall on these folks, and then he saves them instead of just, oh crap, I failed.
Yeah.
But that's all about my thoughts on those movies. I'm not gonna reiterate stuff again. Everyone in the chat should know my honest opinions of those things. But let's see. How far are we into the stream? How far?
I would say 2 hours.
Oh wow! Dang that! Dang, I didn't realize my little thing covered my little make believe story covered that much amount of time. God damn!
It really did.
Wow!
I told you, it was like having a little movie in my head.
Oh man! Oh, also, but I don't want to neglect saying this, but yeah, but you guys haven't noticed, JAC is back to streaming. It's no longer the HAC Show featuring JAC. It's now the HAC JAC Show now. So I better see you guys support JAC. I better. at least or at least tell like, hey, let's say in the chat and get a little like and all that stuff, and all that. And also, Jay, you gotta remind me that when you upload your BitChute videos, remind me to give you like all the password stuff and everything, so you can access the account. I've forgotten like to give you that stuff.
No, I'm probably gonna have to wait. Wait, hold on. Had to cough. But I'm probably gonna have to wait a bit with the BitChute thing because as I said before, waiting for the hard drive.
Ah, that's right.
To install it because I've realized I don't have 4 screws for my hard drive. And
that's right.
Yeah.
Virgo Kaiji says late, but my heart has been here early. You know what, Virgo? If I would have given away in the title what it was actually gonna be about, I bet you would have been here like as soon as we started. Because Virgo loves I think he loves the same Raimi movies more than I have, or at least he's more vocal and passionate about it. But it's always a good thing to have that type of positivity. Always a good thing. Douglas-on says, well, in the last week, I have in fact seen more JAC streams than HAC streams.
Dang.
Damn. Douglas-on, the bird.
That was very damn.
Well, like what? Am I not beautiful for you anymore?
No, I was gonna do a second one, like on Tuesday, but then I got like super sick. That was the one that had the fever. So I just all I did was like play one game of League, and even then, that took me like pretty much till 6 p.m. to gather enough strength to actually do something.
Yeah, and
So,
and even though I don't feel as bad as Jack is, the fact that my voice sounds the way it is and I can't use its full range, um, I'll still be doing streams, but as far as like videos, I'm gonna hold off until like my voice is actually better, so that I can do those properly. And of course, other behind the scenes stuff.
I hope that there is enough content of Ghost Runner, because I'm not sure if I finished like half of it or.
Really, it seemed like you kind of beat the main campaign.
I don't think so, because as it showed, there's like a few more levels left. I'm assuming. I feel like that she's like the one character that you thought was gonna be the boss, but like the main villain, but it's not really.
I see. So
I feel like it's the architect, which is the one that one voice that kind of talks to you and tells you that you're just a robot with flesh.
I see. Well, only one way to find out. Hold up, gotta burp. Excuse me a second. Okay,
I'm dying.
I think we're both dying.
I'm dying. Goodbye, cruel world.
I hardly knew you. Hold up. All right, I think we gotta end this. Our voices are not gonna make it anymore. Announcement wise, I think it's safe to say we're gonna just heal for a bit until we get our voices back, which hopefully won't take too long for either of us. Hopefully after the next day or two. But in the scenario that we get past the sickness more quicker than expected. For me, of course, still working on that 100th comic review, which making again good progress in it, and there will be a Metal Sunday this Sunday, and the band that Kevin and I will be covering is another big band. We will be covering Metallica.
Hell yeah!
So, all you thrash metal fans, Metallica fans, you don't want to miss that. One. And of course, chill stream on Saturday, assuming that I don't feel any worse, which I shouldn't. I think I should be fine by then. Jack, what do you have up your sleeve?
So currently, hopefully, if everything goes well. Oh wow, my voice is actually giving out. I didn't even realize. If everything goes well with the healing process, I'm gonna do more streams. I might try to record something for a bit shoot, but I can't promise it, especially with each passing day I have less and less faith on my hard drive. And I just don't want to lose any progress if I do make any with those. But other than that, there are going to be more streams. Hopefully, it'll be for Mondays and Tuesdays. You'll see them by then. Monday, definitely, when I feel better, I'll finish up Ghost Runner. I feel like I'm almost done with that game. Tuesday, I'm going to be thinking of another game to play for that.
Ghetto says, remember what I said. Real N-words don't die. That is true. If you die, you're a punk.
Oh, that reminds me of the freaking League of Legends song that goes, Legends never die. So now it's just gonna be N-words never die. They're always a part of you. N-words never die. They're always a part of you.
Doug was on actually, yeah, it's a quick question. I know it's been out for a while, but Hatchek, what are your thoughts on Annie? Annie of the Stars, that is. Annie of the Stars? I think by that Tony should realize I may not know what you're talking about. Let me see. Annie of the Stars? So, oh, the new Skullgirls character.
Oh yeah.
I have not tried her at all, so I have no opinion on her. if I see her gameplay and if it seems interesting, I might check it out. But just the design alone, I'm not too interested in a Lolita type character. So so that initially made me not want to at least check her out.
I'm
But
interested.
I'll see her gameplay if it's something that I'm interested in. I would definitely take at least take a gander, because it's actually pretty neat that Skullgirls they want to continue putting new content to that game, and if Annie's successful, there'll be more cool new characters that I would probably like more down the line, at least hopefully.
I guess that means we'll have to start playing that again. But this is coming out for both Second Encore and right, and not just mobile.
I
It sounds like it's coming out for Second Encore.
It's for the second Encore game.
Sweet.
And I think I know you don't care about this, but I think Rose in Street Fighter V is out. I think. So I have to double check on that. If she is, ooh, I want to check her out. Not that. Well, actually, probably no. Yeah, I mean in both ways. I want to check her out, and I want to check her out. You catch my drift? Because I like playing Rose.
Huh. I'm pretty sure you probably thought of my reaction towards Rose, or at least like the announcement that Rose is coming out for Street Fighter V, as not wanting to think about Street Fighter V. Partially right. Mostly, I never liked Rose. I don't know. I don't like her appeal too much to me. It doesn't seem.
That's fine. I didn't really appreciate her until I played her, and I was like, okay, I like her. She has a character that I want to learn a little bit more of, but not like really master. And then I liked her even more so when I kind of find out that they're like pretty much a JoJo reference.
JoJo.
Yeah, she's pretty much Lisa. So, and I like Lisa. In any case, I'll read the chat real quick before we end things. Ghetto says, if you die, you a mark ass trick and a trick ass mark. Rex says, little orphan Annie who awakened terrifying psionic powers at a young age. You sure you don't mean Jean Grey? Ghetto says, I keep forgetting I have Skullgirls, so somebody brings it up. Is his name Wooly? Because Wooly will always tell you that about Skullgirls, unless he's given up on that game as well. Then I guess the hype wasn't that real then. Rex says, protected by her powerhouse super of adopted father, Daddy Warhead, Annie was never ending war against the forces of evil. Doug goes on. She was on mobile for a while now, but she's now also coming for a second encore. And then Spaxo asks you, Jack, you don't like hot fortune teller MILF, Jack?
I don't know why. It's just like, to me, I think it's more about the hair this time.
Jack's racist against gypsies confirmed.
No, I'm racist against you.
Oh, all hacks are not bad. Only some.
They're all
hacks
hacks. They're all hacks.
All right, then let's start to end things. So thank you very much for joining in on this fun episode of the JAC Show. We're gonna hit another milestone next week with episode 80. We're coming that close to the 100th episode, and I wonder, and hopefully, because we're also, the subscriber numbers are also growing. We're also one more team 75, so we'll be 3/4 away to 100. So hopefully it will be very cool, and we'll make it a passive goal to have this channel reach not only 100 episodes of the show, but also 100 subscribers. I think that would be pretty neat, and of course that will only help with us releasing content, but if you guys spreading our word and sharing all content with everyone, that is really really appreciative if you do that. We appreciate it. Okay, one last comment. Ghetto says, despite being less than 1% of the population, hacks commit 100% of the bad puns. That's Jack's job, not mine.
Yeah.
Rex says, my Twitter account's been suspended for noticing things.
Good.
What?
For noticing things? Yeah, good. Now we can't notice anything, guys.
I'm not what you're talking about. All right, we gotta end this. All right, goodbye, everyone. Have a good night. Have a good day. Good afternoon, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Goodbye, everyone.